Flosstube friends. It is Wednesday, March 10th, and I am here with another update. This is actually my third attempt at updating. So, I'll explain why and then something else. So, I first filmed an update that was about like 20 minutes long or something like that. And I started to edit it, and I thought I had finished it and uploaded it, and then like a week later I was trying to clear things out of my phone to make space so that I could film another update, and there it was, not finished, updated, and not uploaded. So I just deleted that and decided to include everything from that in the next update, which was an hour and a half long. Like, I filmed an hour and a half. I spent about 4 hours editing and adding pictures, and when I tried to export it from the iMovie software on my phone, I got a not enough space alert, which is really annoying because there is a lot of space available on my phone, about 80 gigabytes, which should be more than enough to export a video, but it was saying that there wasn't. So I went through and deleted a bunch of things, and I stupidly, I guess, thought that I could, hang on, Georgie is here. I thought that I could delete the video file itself because it was in the iMovie, so I already thought like it was there. I didn't need to keep the original because I had the edited one, so I deleted it, and that's not how that works. So guys, if you edit videos, don't make that mistake. But so I lost everything from that video, because when I went back to try to export the video, I got this message that one of my clips could not be found, and I tried to search then on my iPad and hoped that that backup hadn't been deleted, but of course when I deleted it from my iPhone, it also deleted from my iPad, and so I lost it all. And I had spent like between setup, filming, editing, about 10 hours on that video, and so I was really, really frustrated. And so I'm gonna give an update, but there are things I probably worked on that I just don't remember, because I also threw away my notes after I'd finished filming that, and naturally I discovered it the day after trash pickup, so I couldn't even like pull the notes out of the garbage can or anything like that. So I don't remember everything I said on that video, and I'm not going to be able to repeat it, and I'm really just trying to get this filmed and then uploaded. Hello. So I'm not going to edit this video. It's, yes, he's like attempting to kiss me. So I'm just going to film this and get it uploaded and not edit it. So I'm not going to be putting in before pictures or this is what it will look like when it's done, because hopefully next week I'll be able to return to a normal filming schedule. I say normal, but I've never been able to stick to it. But what I always hope will be a normal filming schedule, and the updates will be shorter, and I'll be able to edit it and not get things about not having enough space. Part of what I spent so long on for that video is that Gracie had her puppies. They were about half a week earlier than I was expecting them, and tomorrow they will be 2 weeks old. And so I had edited the video and put in a lot of pictures and I think a couple of video clips and stuff like that. So I've decided what I'll do instead is I will put together some clips and maybe another little video of the puppies, and I'm going to do that as its own separate upload, maybe tomorrow or this weekend or something like that. So you guys will get to see the puppies. One of them has started to just barely open her eyes, and it's so cute. There's 2 boys and 2 girls. The 2 boys were born first, and then the 2 girls. What's interesting is puppy 1 and puppy 4 are the 2 biggest. So the last born is not actually the smallest at all. And when I film tomorrow, I'll talk more about the puppies and everything about them. They're just so cute. I need to order a puppy playpen for them because they're soon going to be able to walk around and play, and they're going to need more space. So that's all really, really exciting. I'm still hoping my husband will let me keep one because they're just so cute. And yeah. I also got back some medical information, and my fertility is not looking good. So part of me is like overcompensating for not having babies by having dogs. And so I naturally want to keep one of the puppies. If he would let me, I would keep all of them, but he won't let me have 6 dogs. Hello, handsome. Yes, I love you. He's such a little kissy boy. Yes, he call you kissy boy. So that's the main kind of updates with that, and in the video I upload for just the puppies, I will go more into that. I was trying to, and I'm going forward, I still will try to break my videos down in between yarn crafts and sewing crafts, but for this video it's going to be everything because there's just so much to update on, and I don't have time to film multiple separate updates, especially with the dogs, because spending time with the puppies and everything. So I'm going to go first into the cross stitch whips, and then at the end I will have more life updates and that type of thing. So but you've either got to go down or to the side. Yeah, mommy needs space now. There we go, buddy. He's not having any of that. He wants back on the lap. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what I worked on for the end of February, so I'm just going to ignore all of that. I'm pretty sure it was zombie run things, so I worked on all of those since then. So I'm just going to talk about what I've been stitching in March. So there's this group that's called March Mayhem, I think. And Stephanie Kine from Miss Oh So Crafty came up with this idea in that group. So someone else created the group, but she came up with this further idea of doing like a March Madness bracket challenge type of situation. So you pick 8 whips and you stitch 200 stitches on each whip, and then you somehow eliminate half of them. So different people are doing different things. Some are doing, they pick 2 whips to go against each other and one would win from that. What I did was I then posted my 8 whips, like where I was stopped at, and I let people vote on 4 of them. So each person could vote on 4. And then the 4 highest would go on to round 2. And on round 2, you do 400 stitches on each whip. So the voting for mine just ended today. And so I have the list of who moves on, but I haven't worked on any of them. He's back in my lap, sitting down. You're a little monster. So I'll tell you which 4 move on after I show you the update pictures, but let's start with what I've done. George, I'm serious now. You have to go down. Mommy needs some space. You can come back in a little bit. Okay. So first we have Halloween Rules from Lizzie Kate. This is what it will look like when it's done. And here is what I did. I did almost exactly 200 stitches. So what I did was I continued the border down. I had a couple of worked threads, so I just completed them. And then I started the border around this next block. The next block is Stay Up Late with those cute, cute little owls. It looks pretty easy. Okay, I'll just say it as I go on. This one actually didn't get to progress. It was 1 vote shy. So, I do, however, need 400 stitches to complete my Zombie Run March requirement. So I'm going to do 200 more stitches on it, and then I will put it away for the month. So, it's not moving on in the March Madness Bracket Challenge, but I do need to just do a little bit more. So there is that. Next we have Serengeti. So I have scrolled up, but I did finish completely these 2 blocks. I did all the black and the back stitching, and they are done. So next I need to work on this block. This one did get enough votes to move on to round 2, so I have to do 400 stitches on this one, and that is pretty exciting. I do like this one. It's for my parents, so my mom is always bugging me to work more on it. I'm trying to move it to the side because it's so big it's in the way. Okay, there we go. So that is Serengeti from Chatelaine, and yeah, it is moving on to round 2. Next we have my Prairie Schooler Santa. These are for my husband. This is not the one. I pulled out the wrong ones. So, this is the one I am doing, the 2013 Santa. I do need to order a couple more of these online. And here is where I am at. So I'm working hard on the red in the suit. I've made some good progress. And surprisingly, this one did win, actually. It came in 4th place. But yeah, this one is moving on to round 2. So 400 more stitches on the Prairie Schooler Santa. I didn't actually think that it would be one of the ones that was voted on, but it was, so that's exciting. I don't know why this chair is squeaking. Next we have Pandemic from Long Dog Samplers. And here is where I'm at. I stitched on this motif. I did 200 stitches in there. And this one actually is the one that received the most votes. I was surprised about that. I thought Serengeti would receive the most votes, but this one did. So right now it's moving on to round 2. We'll see if it remains the leader after this next round. But 400 more stitches on Pandemic from Long Dog Samplers. Then we have Peter Polar Bear from the Advent Animal series. That's what he'll look like when he's done. These are freebies from Brooks Books. Now, the voting on this one really surprised me as well. This is what I did. So I only had the eye cocoa and black, and I filled in all the rest of the red. This one got the least amount of votes. It actually only got 1 vote. And that really surprised me because it just really did surprise me. So it will not be moving along to the next round. This was one of my Whip Go draws for the month of March. So we'll be making an appearance again this month whenever the Whip Go weekend rolls around. I don't know if that's this weekend or next weekend. I need to check the group. But it will be making an appearance, but not in the March Madness. And March Madness is my primary focus this month, so my goal for Whip Go weekend won't be very high. I definitely won't complete the 1,000 stitches for the Whip Go goal this month, but it will show up again. Trying to get things out the way. Next we have Lantern Lane from Little House Needleworks. I have to get the bag open. This is what it will look like when it's done. And here is where I am at. So I worked on this side. I had done this at the end of last month, so I think that's one of the things I didn't tell you guys. But then for the 200 stitches, I did these, and I started the steps or the path up to the door. So this one is another one that will be moving on in the next round of March Madness. So that is exciting because I really want to finish this one. So it'll be good to make more progress on that. Thought I was going to say something else about that, but oh yeah. Unfortunately, I am almost out of the green floss, and that makes the second color that I will have run out of on this project, and so I don't think that it was clear that I needed multiple skeins of two of the colors in particular. So that's a little frustrating because I'm going to have to make a special order for a skein of floss, but luckily I have a list of flosses I need for another project, so it's just a little frustrating. The next one that I worked on is, well, these aren't exactly in the order that I worked on them, but Sistine Chapel. So I worked on the border. Now, this one did not get voted on to progress. It did receive several votes, or a couple votes at least. However, I was able to finish the Whip Go board goal of 1,000 stitches on this one, so I'm fine with it going away because I made the goal. And I was able to highlight off another box. So if at all possible, I would love in this next month to catch up on the stitching Whip Go board. So that is exciting. The final project I worked on is my Massive World Wonders map. And let's move this a little bit. So I was working on filling in this area, and then I would just carry the thread down until I ran out of the thread. So I did about 300 stitches on this one actually. And this one was the second March Whip Go board call. So I still need to do another 700 stitches on this one to complete the board. However, it did not vote to go forward in March Madness, so it will only come out again on Whip Go weekend, and I'll probably only do about 200 stitches or something like that. So those are the cross stitch projects I've worked on. I did sign up for Frosted Pumpkins Cozy Sal that will be starting on March 25th. And I'm really excited about that because the theme is just really cute seeming. So I'm pretty excited. I I didn't order the kit because they were sold out, which sucks because I like to order the kits from them. So I'll see if any more kits get posted, but if not, I'll have to stash dive, which is fine. Hopefully it's fine, actually. I'll see what the first part looks like before I decide on fabric. But I'm hoping to maybe have finished my March Madness by the day it comes out, so that I can start that on that day. I do think, like, even though it took me longer than I wanted, because today is the 10th, and I only finished the first round on the 9th. No, I finished it on the 8th, because I was able to put up the voting on the 9th. But even though I only finished on the 8th, I think part of the problem is that 200, it's hard for me to stop at just 200 stitches. So a lot of the projects I went to closer by 400. So I don't think that the subsequent rounds are going to take me as long, because it's not as hard for me to stop at 400 stitches as it is to stop at 200. So I do think that these next rounds are going to go faster. So that's just my 2 cents on that. In case I didn't mention them all, the ones that are going forward are Pandemic, Lantern Lane, Serengeti, and the Prairie Schooler Santa. So my plan actually is that for my next video update will be when I finish those 4. So I'm planning on updating at the end of each round. And so just for this month, and then I will try again to be posting once a week. But I think that that will come. Sorry, I'm in cozy clothes. It's a rainy day today, so but yeah, so the next update will be coming hopefully not even in a week, but we'll see. And so yeah, there's that. That's all the stitching update that I have as far as I know. So the next thing I want to talk about is finishing up talking about Whip Go. So I already told you guys the 2 draws for March on my cross stitch board, which was the Advent Animals and the World Wonder Map. So I need to reach 1,000 stitches on each of those. Probably won't happen this month, but hopefully will happen next month. Next month I really want to focus on finishing the boxes that have been called. I probably won't be able to do that on my non-stitchy Whip Go because I have yet to complete a single box there, but we'll hopefully get closer. And then, yeah. Two of my Whip Go draws are still going forward in the March Madness competition, I guess. So Lantern Lane and Prairie Schooler are both going into round 2, and actually round 2 might finish out their squares on the Whip Go board, which would be awesome. That would put me completely caught up to March on my cross stitch Whip Go. So if that happens, I might try to really push to finish out the Advent Animals and the World Wonder Map. On my non-stitchy Whip Go board, however, things are not going great. I have, however, actually worked on one of my March drawings, so I'm going to talk about that next. One of the drawings for March was a quilt. It's a Christmas quilt that, to be honest, I don't even remember starting this. I don't remember picking out the fabrics or anything. I don't even know where these fabrics came from. It's just when I was moving, this bag appeared with this. So I have actually, so for my non-stitchy Whip Go, each box, my goal was to spend 10 hours on that project. I've actually spent 8 hours on this one already, and I'm hoping maybe I'll finish the last 2 hours tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And this is a quilt called Cityscape. And I have a bunch of Christmas fabric. And so I actually spent 8 hours cutting the fabric for this. It was 35 fat quarters that had to be cut in certain ways, and I ironed them all, and I cut them, and so let me see if I can show you guys the various fabrics. So we've got this green one. We've got this one. I'm not actually even sure what possessed me because most of these aren't really my style. I don't know. I'm making apparently for a queen size bed, so we will have a Christmas quilt hopefully this year. Then this one, which I think is really pretty. Some fabrics there's more of than others. So, a couple of them I had 4 fat quarters of, and a few I only had 1 fat quarter. So, there is not like a lot of, I think this one's a really pretty fabric. Then more of like a cutesy snowman. And then there's this one. So anyways, hang on, let me try to get them all neat again. So the next step that I need to do is I need to take all of these strips, and so there should be about 70. And I have to sew 2 of them together. Not the same pattern, like not the same fabric. So I have to go through and sew like these 2 together. And then that type of thing. And after that, I have to cut those again into smaller pieces. So I'm thinking possibly even just the sewing and then ironing will take me 2 hours. So that might bring me to the end. But so there's this size. I also had to cut these. So there's about, I think, 140 of these. And then this size as well. So there was, and again, 140 of these. I had to split them into 2 equal piles. But yeah, so there was a lot of cutting, a lot of ironing, and that took about 8 hours. So I am almost done with my Whip Go board for that one, just 2 more hours, and yeah. I have one more quilting thing to talk about, so I'll talk about that, and then I will talk about my last Whip Go board square in the non-stitchy Whip Go board. So I have been wanting for a while to make a new quilt for my husband and I. The only quilt I personally have that I've made, because I've gifted all the other ones, is the very first quilt I ever made. That was for a double bed, and basically I just hog it. Like, I don't even share it with him. I use it because I get really hot while I sleep, so I kick off the blankets, and then I'm able to have just the quilt on, and he gets cold, so he can have the layers and layers of blankets. But yeah, so I've been wanting to make a blanket for our bed. And years ago, when my younger sister Jo got married, I made her this log cabin quilt. And a log cabin quilt is one where you like build around in a circle. So you start with 2 blocks that are the same size. And then you sew them together. And then you put one on the side that would be the same size as those 2 blocks sewn together, and you continue around in a square until you have it the size you want. And let me see actually if this contains a picture of that. It does not, surprisingly. That is actually really surprising. I thought it did. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I did it in these purples and blues and greens or whatever, and it is by far and away my favorite quilt I've ever made. And I've been wanting one for myself. So I basically decided to recreate that quilt for myself. However, it won't be completely identical because 2 of the 3 fabric lines that I used for her are no longer being sold, so I wasn't able to buy exactly what I bought, which I guess she probably would appreciate because I'm not completely stealing her quilt or whatever. But yeah, I finally received the last one I needed for that in the mail, and so one of my goals this month is to cut all of the fabric I need for that quilt because I'd like to finish it by our anniversary in June as like a sort of present. I don't think my husband really loves the colors, but I'm still gonna give it to him as a present because he appreciates more the handmade gifts than he does the store-bought ones. Like, he doesn't really use almost any of the store-bought gifts I've ever given him, which is like moderately frustrating, but whatever, it is what it is. But he really does use the gifts that I've handmade for him. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. So I thought I would share with you guys the fabrics. So this one is one that actually was what I used for my sister. So you can kind of get the color palette idea. I don't actually use every strip in here because they don't all match what I want. Some of these are like greener. Some of these are a little too light. But so this is what we started out with. Then I found these 2 in Joann's, and these are half the size as this. This is 42 strips, and each of these are 20. But so we have some fabrics in here. These are all batiks, and I really am into batiks right now. So, I'll probably use the majority of the ones in here, except for maybe a couple of these greens, the more limey type. This one, also batiks, I won't be using these like pinks. That's not in the colors that I'm looking for. I'm looking for more purples and blues. But other than those pinks, I'll probably use everything in here. And then the one that I ordered that just showed up, look how beautiful that is. These are the colors that I really, really wanted and love. These are also batiks, I believe. But they have less design than these ones do. But I love these. So I also went through my fabric stash and pulled out some more fabrics in the color range. These are for my scraps. So things I've used in other projects that I thought would maybe match the colors. Some I'll use, some I probably won't. I believe like these were ones that I didn't use, but this is the fabric line that I used in the quilt for my sister. Like this one, oh, I think this one's so pretty. But yeah, so I just pulled a bunch of scraps that, oh, I love this one. Look at this one. that I'm hoping to be able to include. These purples with yeah, so I did that. I only had one that wasn't from Stash, and I might, which is this one, and I might use this as a border fabric. I'll need to actually see how much is here to see if there will be enough to make a small border, but I think that this would be pretty, and we'll draw together the colors. So these are all the colors I'm actually looking to include in the quilt. So these shades of greens and purples and blues. So I think that this would be a nice border fabric. So I have a couple more scraps. But anyways, so I really want to finish cutting them all this weekend, not this weekend, this month, so I can begin sewing them and hopefully be able to have them done by our anniversary. So the other thing I did is I bought this ruler from this company called Quilt in a Day. And so here's the ruler. Put it here so you guys can see. And so this ruler is as wide as the strips are. And each of these markings shows where you should be cutting. So, and it tells you the number of strips that you need. So like down here, it says center and L1. L1 is leg 1. So that's 2.5 by 2.5. So what you do is, let me take one of these strips real quick to show you. So see how it's already as wide as the fabric strip, the ruler. So you would take it and you would put it where that first line is. Then you take your ruler and cut across here. Then you have your next leg and you would cut there. So you keep on doing that until you have all the strips you need. And yeah, so that is one of my big plans for this next month. Right now I'm storing it in my box from FabFitFun for the spring. My membership is up for renewal. I don't know if I will renew it. I like everything I get in my boxes for the most part, but I'm just the annual membership's like $200, I think, about, and I'm not working right now, and I just don't know. Part of me right now is like, I'd rather spend it on fabric because I'm super into quilting, and so I'm going to have some more quilting stuff to show you guys soon because I have some projects and plans, and I'm just so excited about them. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll renew, but I like to reuse the boxes because they're pretty sturdy, pretty yeah, pretty good for storing a big project in. So that's what I am storing this quilting project in right now. Anyways, so enough about that. That is quilting. Next, we have the last square that was called for my non-stitchy whip go, and that is my Heart of Glass tee, and I have not worked on this in like a year. So here it is. This is the, actually it's the back of the shirt right now. So what I have to do is I have to knit till this side right here is 8 inches, I believe, and then you cut off your yarn and you come over to the shoulders up top, and you have to pick up stitches, and then you knit the front, and then you join this back in the round, and then you're able to just work it in a round like this. And part of me is scared to do that. Another part of me is, well, mainly I'm scared to do that. But I really want to get this top done. I think it'll be really pretty. So I need to put in about 10 hours on this. And my plan is kind of to work on it when I'm spending more time with the puppies, because as they get bigger, they'll be more active and I'll need to actually be there more with them. And so simple stockinette, which is knitting one way and then purling back the other way, will be something that will be easy to do while just sitting with them as they play. So that is the last one that was called. I do have 2 other knitting things to show. Both are new starts. So the first one is one that I started when Gracie was in labor, and I just kind of wanted to have a project that would remind me of Gracie having puppies and just spending that time with her. So this is called the Grain Shawl. It's a freebie. I'll try to link it, or you can look at my Ravelry page and find it. I did steal the needle for the next project I will show you in just a minute. But anyways, so I am using a yarn cake a gradient that will go from this gray up through the blues. And I think that will be really pretty. So I've always wanted to try knitting with this yarn. It is basically, it's kind of like DMC strands of floss like that are just held together. So I've done a lot of crochet with this yarn, but I wanted to try knitting with it. And so I found a simple pattern, and it was free. And so I decided to do that. And yeah. Yesterday I started a new knitting project, and the reason for that is because I got an email from the designer Andrea Mowry, and she was hosting a knit along that runs from March to May, and it's like a pick whatever pattern of hers you want and work on that. And she's a designer I've wanted to try for a while, but her patterns are more advanced than I am at present. But when that came along, it was just kind of like a nudge to finally just try it, or try her. And she incorporates a lot of this stitch called the Brioche Stitch, and that one has always been intimidating to me. And so I decided this was the perfect time to try it. So that's what I did, and I spent several hours scouring my yarn to find a lot of her patterns call for a lot of yarn colors, but it will be like a quarter of a skein or half of a skein, and then I don't know why I always just want to use the whole skein, even though like then I could take those scraps and use them in another project. I don't know. So I was looking at this pattern. It's called Brioche-licious. This one actually does call for 4 different colors, and one of the colors you need 2 skeins of, the white one over here. However, when I was looking at other people's project pages on Ravelry, I discovered that a few people, so each of these stripes they did is a different color, is what the pattern calls for. But I saw some people who used one color for all of those sections. And I decided that that would be the perfect thing to do. It all added up to about 1 skein. And it'll be close, but it should work out if I've done the math properly. So that's what I decided to do, and I started it last night. So this is my main color. I ordered these, I think, a year ago from one of my favorite dyers. Her name is Bluebird Yarn. She's on Etsy. And this one is called A Valentine for Miss Bennett. So, then the accent color I chose for it is from a different dyer called the Yarn Prairie, and it's Tales of Beetle the Bard. And so this one's very tonal. Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me. So in here you can see there are some flecks of blue, and so I thought that this would go perfect with it. And so last night I finished the first section, which is a plain garter stitch. And then I started the brioche. Just barely. So that's one side and this is the other side. Brioche is kind of reversible. So on one side, this will be the prominent yarn that shows. On the other side, this will be the prominent one. So it's like how subtle or how dark you want it to be. But anyways, so far, it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. I watched a couple tutorial videos on YouTube, and it's been going really well. So, I do think I'm gonna need to order bigger needles because the cable is almost running out. And so I know a lot of people always keep theirs bunched up, but I've always liked to have a lot of room on my cables. So I'll probably order another size. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with this. I enjoyed doing this so much. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my knitting update. And yeah, I hope to finish this by May. I don't know because, you know, I start things all the time and they languish in with land or whatever. But anyways, yeah. It's been a simple pattern, and I hope then that I will be able to work up the nerve to do some of her other patterns that have appealed to me, and be more brave about using my stash, but not like feeling like if I don't use the whole skein on one project that I've wasted it, that I could, you know, keep smaller amounts for other accents in other projects, just because I then won't be able to make a pair of socks out of it. I mean, I'm not gonna make, like, I don't know, however many pairs of socks that would be. So yeah, anyways, I just need to, like, make myself more comfortable with that. Anyways, so that is the end of my crafting updates. Here are my Whipco boards at the moment. For the reading Whipco board, I need to do 1 week. I need to read 18 hours in 1 week, and I may have already reached that this week, so I don't know. And another week, I need to do no TV during the day, only books. I might have watched some YouTube during the day on Monday. So I might try for that next week or something like that. But anyways, that's how that is going. Which actually brings me to some book updates for you guys. As you guys may know, I host a 24-hour readathon twice a year. And the next one is coming up in April. It will be April 24th. However, my co-host and I, Gabby, we decided for the pre-readathon challenge this year that we would create a game board. And we just released that today. So I thought I would share that with you guys. I printed it out so you guys could see. Here is our game board. And each of the squares is a different prompt. And for some of them, you might like end up having to go back to start or things like that. It's basically like Chutes and Ladders or Candyland or whatever, where you roll a dice, you move forward that many squares, and you do the prompt. So, there are 2 levels for playing the game. You could play where you have to read half of the book before you move forward on the challenge. Go away, I'm filming. My husband's looking at me. I don't like it when he does that. I think he's telling me he's hungry. Anyways, so there are 2 levels. One where you have to read half of the book before you can move on, re-roll, and move forward. The harder version is where you have to complete a whole book before you can move on. So I'm probably going to try the hard version because I am like a reading machine right now. Audiobooks, granted. But according to Goodreads, I am 6 books ahead of schedule for finishing 150 books this year. So I may even like up my goal and see if I were to try to read a crazy 250 books this year, like how far behind schedule I would be, and if I could work to catch up to that kind of a goal. Like, I've never even made 150 books, so I probably shouldn't adjust my challenge, but part of me, like, really wants to. I don't know. I'm really into cozy mysteries right now. But anyways, I will include the link to the blog post with this game board so that if you want, you can join in. You can play as a group or you can play as an individual. I'm trying to get some people in my family to join me, and we'll see if that happens, but probably won't. And anyways, yeah, I'm really excited about that. The other reading related thing I wanted to share, one more thing about the 24-hour readathon. This weekend I will be putting up the reader sign up on the blog, and I'll also be putting up a volunteer sign up on the blog. So if you're at all interested in reading or volunteering, you could sign up there. I'm also going to, for the first time ever, try to include a donate button. And the reason for this is one thing that people complain about is that when Dewey's 24-hour readathon first started, there were prizes and every hour someone would win a prize. The problem has been that prize donors have not always been consistent with actually giving or mailing out their donations to the winners or anything like that, which then means that the host has to compensate and donate out of their own pocket, and that's not really feasible for me at this moment, as I am not working. So, but people complain all the time that they miss prizes, and I get that. Prizes are a lot of fun, and checking every hour to see if you're the winner is a lot of fun. However, to do that, we would either need consistent donors or just whatever. So I thought that if I include a donate button, I could be able to offer gift cards. So if you're only able to donate like a couple dollars, that could be mixed together with other people's couple of dollar donations to be able to afford some gift cards. There are websites like Better World Books that have free shipping worldwide, and you're able to do gift cards in like $10 increments if you want. And so my hope is maybe we'll be able to get enough donations to be able to offer a gift card for each hour, but that's asking for a lot because, I mean, that would be like, I mean, it's 24 hours, so that's like $10 gift cards times 24 is like $250 basically, and there's no way I could afford that. And so my hope is just some people might feel just like they have a few dollars to spare and are able to help out in that way. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and it is what it is, but I just thought I would try that this time, because one of the biggest comments we get back is people want there to be prizes again, and trust me, I do get that, but I cannot foot the whole bill, so that's just, it is what it is. I can't do it by myself. So, yeah. The last thing reading related is that beginning March 1st, there was a new seasonal reading challenge on the Seasonal Reading Challenge group on Goodreads, and since I'm in such a reading mood lately, I decided to print out the challenge. It took 11 pages front and back, and I have never managed to complete this challenge, and I'm not even positive I could do it now, but I'm not working, so I might as well try. And so how the seasonal reading, and I don't host this. I've just been a member of the group for 13 years. I don't know, a lot of years. And I've never even come close, not even to the halfway point. And so I really, really want to try hard this year to maybe do it. And so how this works is that there are different point levels, and you read a book and you fit it to a prompt and you can claim those points. So there are 10 prompts that are worth 5 points. Then there are 10 prompts that are worth 10 points, and all of those are just one book each for each prompt. Then you get to the 15-point prompts, and these ones, there are a few that are 2 books where you have to read 2 books. So for the first one for the 15 points, you need to, for book 1, read a book that has at least 2 words. Any book that has 2 words. For the second book, you need to read a book of at least 2 words where the first word of the second book matches the last word of the first book in the title. So, for example, Year 1 as a first book and 1+1 as a second book. So that type of thing. So as the points get higher, the challenges get harder. It's a lot of fun. Then you have the 20-point prompts. And the 20-point prompts are participants who get to create a prompt. And these are things like the most improved player. So the person who improved the most from the previous reading challenge to this one, they get to create a challenge. Then there's the rookie at the top, and this is the person who did the best, who is a newbie to the reading challenge. There's the best review, because people can submit reviews for books that they read, and golden oldies, and these are, you get extra points if your book is over 100 years or something like that, and you can submit that, and then all those names go into a random drawing, and one of those people gets to create a task. There's bigger is better, and this is you get extra drawing, your name gets submitted extra times to create a task if your book is 500 or 750 or 1,000 pages. So if it's 500, you get 1 entry. If it's 750, you get 2 entries. If it's 1,000, you get 3 entries. And one person gets drawn to create a task for that. There's the seasoned reader. I don't actually remember how you win that one. Another one is Shorter and Sweeter. Another one's called Nickels and Dimes. So for Nickels and Dimes, this is everyone who completes all the 5 and 10 point tasks get entered to be able to create this 20-point task. And yeah, so that's what that is. Then there's the moderator's pet. So what this is any person who has never had to have their reporting post corrected gets entered into this. And trust me, a lot of people get called out for not posting properly. It's actually part of why I haven't participated much, is because I'm scared. I'm scared to post because I'm scared I'm going to do it wrong. So, yeah, there's so many people who participate in this reading challenge that they have to be really strict with how you post. And so, but it's also then makes me really intimidated to do it. And then the final one is a group reads. So there are 4 books that are the group read, and you have to read one of those and then post a comment in that thread. So for this year, the books are The Lions of Fifth Avenue, The Bear and the Nightingale, Paper Bullets, 2 Artists Who Risked Their Lives to Defy the Nazis, and then Frankenstein. So, you have to read one of those books. I've not actually heard of any but Frankenstein, and I'm not really interested in reading Frankenstein, so I need to look up those other books. But anyway, so those are the 20-point tasks. Then we move on to the 30 and 25-point tasks. So, I know for both of those, the people who get to pick those, make those tasks are people who completely finish the challenge. I'm trying to remember where the cutoff is between the 30 points and the 25 points. I think there's like a certain date that if you finish by that date, you get to create the 30-point task. And if you're after that, but before the end of the challenge, you get to create a 25-point task. And for the 25 and 30-point tasks, there isn't like a certain number. So if 15 people finish before that date, there will be 15 30-point tasks. Same thing with the 25-point task. So you're not tied down to the number 10. So the points that you can earn in a reading challenge fluctuate from season to season. This year, there were, let's see, 8 25-point tasks, and I believe there's only 4 30-point ones. Because there's just 5. Okay, there was 5. Each of these tasks are, 2-book tasks. Yeah, 2-book tasks. So, these ones are always the very most creative, but they're also long. So I'm trying to find one that's relatively short that I could read to you guys that is not like forever long to read. Okay, Andy P. This is a name I really recognize because this guy finishes like every time. I think he's always created a task. But anyways, so he says here, as I get older, my eyesight is less than the perfect 20 by 20 I started out with. Often unrelated words that are spelled close to the same are the same length have me reading sentences several times until I find what I thought was an I was really an L. This led me to think about words of the same length but differing by one interior, not the first or last letter. For instance, chair and choir differ only by their third letter. Thus my idea for this season's challenge. As this is an activity for adults, no books with the main page genre of children or kids may be used for this task. In addition, the total number of pages for your 2 books must be greater than 500 pages. Read 2 books whose titles each contain a word of at least 5 letters that has only one interior letter different. The words must be identical except for one changed letter. The 2 words must have different meanings and cannot be singular and plural forms or alternate spellings of the same word. For example, the killer in the choir and the mermaid chair. So choir and chair. So, I mean, you get a lot of challenges like that in the 25 and 30 points that are really fun to try to find books to match, or sometimes real frustrating. There is one more that is a 50-point challenge. However, this one is only put up at the halfway point. And the person who gets to create this one is the person who has the most points at that point in the challenge, but hasn't already created a challenge for it. So, and this one is a 3-book challenge. So you have to read 3 books to complete that one and get the 50 points. So I'm really excited about it. I need to go through and figure out where each of my books that I've finished already since March will fit. But if anyone wants to join in, I will include the link to that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really recommend it. It gets you reading books that you might not read for other purposes. Like, for example, one of the 5-point tasks is to read a book found on this list called Medicine and Literature. So that's not really like a genre I would normally look into, but there's some surprising books on lists like that also might be ones you might not ordinarily pick up to read. And so it's just a really fun way to diversify your reading and just discover some new books and possible potential favorites. And so I highly recommend it, and I'll leave the link to that. And sorry I talked about that for so long, but I'm passionate about reading, as you guys can probably tell, and I'm really into it right now. So that is about all I had to say. This is over an hour. Like I said, I'm not going to be editing this. I'm just going to get it started uploading onto YouTube, and I hope that it will be up there in the morning. So I will talk to you guys later. I have to go make dinner now, chicken tacos. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.